Yes, y'all. My name is Eddie, and you are welcome to this channel. Today, we're going to be reacting to a video that says they kidnapped the SAS and found out. All right, let's go straight into the video and know what they found out. All right.
Monday, September 19th, 2005. Two British operatives conducting covert surveillance in the hostile city of Basra, Iraq, are taken prisoner of war after being compromised by a group of corrupt Iraqi police following a tense shootout turned car chase. But little did their captors know that the two men were special operators of the British Army's Tier 1 unit, the 22nd SAS, unleashing a hellish response from their pissed off teammates. And after being given explicit orders to stand down, the SAS unit denied their leadership and executed a rogue hostage rescue mission.
Really? This looks like something out of Call of Duty. So they disobeyed the orders and went to rescue their teammates. Nice. That was a rogue mission. Yeah, the rogue SAS rescue of
2 years
2005.
following the invasion of Iraq, and 1 year despite the capture of Saddam Hussein, in 2005, Iraq was becoming as hostile as ever, and the small southern city of Basra was no exception. As September 5th of that same year, 2 British soldiers would be killed in Basra by a roadside IED, and only 2 days later, on September 7th, 16 Basran civilians would perish following a car bomb. Given this cluster of violence, U.S. and coalition forces began to zero in on Basra and quickly learned the city was run by an incompetent and corrupt police chief linked to the Mahdi terror cell, who British SBS and SRR commandos targeted during a critical counterinsurgency campaign. This police chief was a crucial link for the notorious British intelligence agency, MI6, who quickly chartered a mission dubbed Operation Hathor, of which they assigned 2 special operators from the Tier 1 unit, the 22nd SAS, the British equivalent of Delta Force. Their objective, to keep eyes and ears on the police chief within the city of Basra. These special operators, Campbell and Griffith, were to dress in native garbs and fully embed themselves within the city. Their mission was to gather intelligence and perform a wreck by tailing the chief and his officers while operating an inconspicuous Iraqi taxicab. And by September 19th, the mission was a go. Campbell and Griffith entered the city of Basra and positively ID'd the chief. However, during their tail, the two were forced to merge into an Iraqi checkpoint. The men attempted to skate through, but the officers, recognizing their British accents, quickly became hostile. The officers ordered the operators out of the car, at which point Campbell and Griffith simultaneously opened fire, killing 2 officers at the checkpoint. They hit the gas and made a run for the city, but their gutless taxi cab made evasion nearly impossible. They hopped out on foot and were quickly cornered by an angry mob and taken into custody by police.
Wow. For real? Sounds like a movie, man.
Basra police sent photographs of Campbell and Griffith to a popular Iraqi news outlet, celebrating their capture. Meanwhile, the bureaucrats back in London were taken by surprise and slow to act. However, in the city of Baghdad, news reached the SAS's Special Forces Support Group in the form of a TV broadcast depicting the men beaten and subdued, and in queue for capital punishment. The SAS team took immediate action. 20 operators of A Squadron hightailed it to Basra and began plotting out a sophisticated rescue mission. SAS operators closer to the region, on the outskirts of Basra, vectored a Predator UAV and began maintaining 24-hour surveillance on the prison. Meanwhile, British infantry and armored units were dispatched to surround the prison, and an irate gathering of locals ensued. The protesters, fueled by anti-coalition sentiments, grew increasingly agitated, and the British government took advantage of the chaos by authorizing the immediate rescue of the operators inside. As the SAS teams from Baghdad arrived in the area of Basra and began their loadout, the protesters' agitations quickly turned to violence. The crowds pelted the British forces with stones and Molotov cocktails, resulting in a Warrior IFV catching on fire and causing injuries to 3 soldiers. And with resistance from both protesters and militants, the streets of Basra quickly turned into a battleground. Fearing further escalation,
So much chaos,
the British
so
government
much
issued
battle
immediate
fights.
orders for the SAS to stand down and the infantrymen to retreat, leaving Campbell and Griffith stranded and in the hands of the Basra police. And with time running out, the pair fought to keep themselves alive by giving their captors just enough information without compromising any real secrets, a skill set SAS operators obtained as far back as selection. Meanwhile,
smart,
the British government
intelligent.
began to take a more diplomatic approach in their recovery, after sending 2 British officers to the prison to deliver an ultimatum. Their mission took an unexpected turn when they too were captured and held within the confines of the prison. And to make matters worse, simultaneously, the Iraqi police opted to hand over Campbell and Griffiths to the Iraqi militia. They were disguised once again in local garbs and then placed in the trunk of a police car destined for a nearby safe house. Unbeknownst to the Iraqi authorities, the UAV overhead tracked through
Like the
location,
police works with
concerned
the
that their
militia
fellow operators
in
might
Iraq.
face execution at the hands of the Iraqi militia. The SAS, against explicit orders to stand down, defied their command and decided to take matters into their own hands.
Wow. Wow.
The British government authorized conventional forces to conduct a raid on the police station and free the captured officers. The SAS took advantage of this window and conducted a simultaneous raid of their own on the safe house. And by 9 p.m., Warrior IFVs and Challenger tanks breached the prison walls, enabling infantry units and a select few SAS operators from A Squadron to stage a swift rescue of the officers, as the remainder of A Squadron launched their assault on the safe house. The team flooded the building through numerous entry points, imposing textbook hostage rescue tactics, disorienting the captors and controlling the violence.
Wow.
As they made their way through the compound, Campbell and Griffiths were nowhere in sight, leading the team to fear that the pair were moved once again. However, a further sweep into the compound revealed Campbell and Griffith handcuffed in a bathroom and still alive.
Wow. Still alive. Alright, the aftermath. Because I really want to know what happened.
The team provided medical attention and extracted the men from the compound. By all accounts, the mission unfolded seamlessly and without a hitch, including the infantry assault and rescue of the British officers within the Basra prison. Eyewitness reports claimed over 150 prisoners escaped during the assault, many of whom were falsely imprisoned. Calls were made for a thorough investigation into both Griffith and Campbell's capture and the subsequent events which followed. The Ministry of Defense initially attempted to deny that the unauthorized rescue mission ever took place, but later retroactively sanctioned the mission, arguably due to its success. 1 year later, on December 25th of 2006, as part of Operation Sinbad, British troops from the 1st Battalion, the Staffordshire Regiment, raided the Basra police station once again, killing 7 armed Shia militants and freeing 127 prisoners, illegally detained and on the path to execution. They then demolished the prison entirely. In the end, the SAS stayed true to and exemplified their motto.
Wow. Who bears me?
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more mini docs in the works. You don't want to miss them. And also be sure to cop new merch at ethosthreads.com/collections/popomedic. If we sell enough inventory, we can get Batty off the goddamn front page. For those of you who don't know, Ethos Threads is a disabled, veteran-owned and operated company. They make high-quality merchandise. This isn't your cheap, run-of-the-mill YouTuber clothing material. This stuff is high quality, comfortable, and it lasts a very long time. So be sure to check out the website. I'll leave a link in the description box down below. It's a great way to support the channel. And be sure to check me out over on Instagram as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Thank you. Subscribed. Alright, so we're going to stop it there. Well, watching this, the first thing that came to my mind was the word corruption. Um, Corruption and bad leadership. So, from the beginning of the story, I heard where the guys talked about the appointment of a police chief, I know a police executive right there in Iraq, who wasn't a very good leader. In fact, that was the starting point of the whole issue, having to um, puts in a corrupt leader or a bad leader in a place of position. That was the beginning of the whole problem, of this particular story. All right. And then having to hear that the police handed over people who were arrested to the militia. So I was wondering, the police working with the militia in Iraq, they were working hand in hand with each other, and I'm like, wow, that was something that I really not heard of, especially with. I didn't expect to hear that kind of a thing with this kind of storyline. All right, so when a police officer gets to work hand in hand with rebels, and you just should expect that there would be a lot of corrupt corruptness. There will be a lot of injustice going on there. We could also hear right that there were some prisoners who were held in the prison unjustly. People who did not do anything wrong, but they were arrested and held in the prison unjustly. And thankfully, they were all released. And that's very nice. But my point is, the first issue here was the fact that a corrupt leader was placed in the leadership position, and which is very, very bad for any country in the world. All right. And then I would like to give a thumbs up to the military guys. First of all, it felt like Call of Duty. If you're into playing of games and all of that, it felt like that because all of the narration and all this whole story sounds like a gameplay or a movie. But man, this was a real life thing that happened. And trust me, the military job is quite a very risky one. You are to be in a very hostile environment. You have to be in a very, very toxic environment where you know that even the locals of that environment really don't like you. They don't like your presence in that kind of environment. It's really risky. And then you have to interact with them. You have to interact with the police there. You have to interact with the military there undercover, trying to gather intel. Really, really a very risky job there. And also kudos to the two soldiers there that tried their best to not be caught, but at the end of the day, they were caught, exchanging fire with the policemen. And then at the end of the day, the whole community was against them, I'm sure, and that was why they were caught and then put inside the prison. And also kudos to the team that refused to adhere to the orders from above and went in to go rescue their teammates. That was some really brave thing to do, brave thing from their end and from the end of the enemy. All right, so they went in, broke into the prison, and made sure that they got their teammates. That's really, really military. No one gets left behind, and that's a big thing. That was a hard and a big thing to do, and it's a salute. I love the military so much. I love their operations, even though I don't want to be a military man because of how risky the job is. And it was a good one. Shows the level of training, shows the level of professionalism, shows the level of expertise of the British Army, going to break into Iraq. I know sometimes I wonder, there is always no rest in the Middle East, Iraqi and all of those, Pakistan and all of those kind of countries. All of the time, they're always fighting. They're always at loggerheads with other nationals. They're always in disagreement, bomb blast, and all of that. There's hardly peace around there, and I really do not know why. I really do not know why. It feels like they love violence so much, and really, it's not a cool thing. I would be scared to even go and visit the Middle East because of all these kind of things that we hear online and in the news. All right, so it was a good one for the military, British military, to go all out for their teammates and go rescue them. And I'm thankful because I don't know, I wouldn't know what would have happened to those guys if they had not gone there to free them. And not just the soldiers, not just the British soldiers, also the innocent prisoners that were there. I wouldn't know what, in fact, I heard he said in the video that they were already in line for execution. You know, so these guys just, oh, they just do a lot of evil out of corruption, out of bad leadership, putting people up for execution, people who are innocent. Maybe they spoke bad about the ills of the government, or they spoke bad about a bad leader, they spoke up about a leader or something, and then they were imprisoned and then put in for execution, which is really a disturbing thing to hear. Really, really a disturbing thing to hear. And thankfully, the British Army went in there with all of the guns and all of the armor tanks and broke in and made sure everyone was free. And that was a beautiful thing. And kudos to the British Army. They did a great job there. Well, I enjoyed watching this. It was very, very educative. It was very, very informative, but also sort of entertaining, because it just felt like I was watching a movie, actually, but it was a real thing that happened real life. And yeah, I felt I got entertained in the process also. So I'll call this an infotainment. All right. So get information, and getting entertainment at the same time. Yeah, it's good to have you on my channel. Please, if you are new here, do well to support me by liking, by subscribing. All right. I'll see you in my next video. Love you all. Peace out.